Hello everyone, this is my second installment of Godzilla crossovers. For this imaginary scenario, Godzilla and Spider-Man will cross paths. I think this would be really cool to see at some point. Since the new Spider-Man movie came out last December, I decided to use the characters from that universe. This is an original story and shares zero continuity with either the MCU or the Godzilla series in any capacity. This is an imaginary story. Peter Parker, MJ, and Ned travel to Tokyo, Japan for a one-year study abroad program for college. At the end of the program in May, there will be a science expo where all the world's greatest scientific minds will gather. The expo will hold a competition for the students with the chance of winning grants towards their senior projects. Peter wants his team to win, but hopes that he can spend more time with MJ now that he won't have to focus on crime fighting in New York City. Little does he know that Dr. Octopus has been planning something in his Mount Fuji lair. While en route to Tokyo, Peter looks out the window and sees bubbling in the water. A huge shadow appears overhead. Peter wipes his eyes and looks out the window and sees nothing. Peter thinks his mind is playing tricks on him. He puts his head back and closes his eyes. The plane lands at night. Everyone waits to disembark, but Peter's spidey sense begins tingling. Peter asks Ned to cover for him as he gets up from his seat. Ned looks confused but agrees. Peter heads to the airplane bathroom, changes, and swings out the plane window in his Spider-Man suit. Peter begins swinging through the city streets of Tokyo. Dr. Octopus descends into a vault to steal an extremely valuable diamond with the hopes of pawning the diamond off so he can finish the rest of his top secret project. After a little while, Dr. Octopus successfully steals the diamond. Just before he heads out, Spider-Man greets him and says, "Hey Doc, what's up?" Knowing Spider-Man's true identity, Dr. Octopus screams, "Oh, not you again. Get lost, Parker." Dr. Octopus's mechanical tentacles lunge after Spider-Man. Spider-Man chases Dr. Octopus through the streets of Tokyo for the diamond. The two go back and forth for a while until King Ghidorah arrives. King Ghidorah begins laying waste to the area with his powerful wings. As King Ghidorah rampages, Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man continue fighting each other. Eventually, Godzilla arrives and begins fighting King Ghidorah in Tokyo. Godzilla's battle with King Ghidorah gets intense and causes Spider-Man to lose Dr. Octopus in the chaos. Godzilla and King Ghidorah fight with each other for a bit, but Godzilla uses his atomic breath to push King Ghidorah out of the city and into Tokyo Bay. King Ghidorah flies out of the water and heads away as Godzilla roars in victory. Dr. Octopus makes it back to his lair in Mount Fuji as Spider-Man gets back to the airport and checks on MJ and Ned. Meanwhile, back in his lair, Dr. Octopus continues his work on his top-secret project, Mechagodzilla. Originally designed to fight and kill Godzilla after he accidentally destroyed Dr. Octopus's laboratory years ago, now Dr. Octopus wants to use his Mechagodzilla plot to kill both Spider-Man and Godzilla, except he wants to kill Spider-Man himself. Dr. Octopus hopes to use the disguised Mechagodzilla to trick Spider-Man into coming to Mount Fuji, setting up a showdown between Doc Ock and Spider-Man at Mount Fuji while Godzilla battles with Mechagodzilla in Tokyo. Dr. Octopus has almost finished Mechagodzilla as well as his outer suit disguise. Designed to make Mechagodzilla look like Godzilla, Dr. Octopus plans to launch Mechagodzilla from Mount Fuji during the Science Expo to get Peter Parker's attention. Dr. Octopus thinks that the suit disguise won't give away his involvement behind the attack. Dr. Octopus hopes that all the commotion from Mechagodzilla's rampage in Tokyo will attract Godzilla so Mechagodzilla can kill him. While Peter, MJ, and Ned work on their project for the Science Expo, Peter continues to investigate Dr. Octopus's diamond theft. Unfortunately, Peter hits a dead end and isn't able to come up with any more clues. Peter gets frustrated, but with the expo less than 2 months away, he realizes that he has to help his team finish their project. When finished, their project will be a special type of nanodrone that can repair damaged wires on telephone poles. Peter, MJ, and Ned have finally finished their nanodrone project for the Science Expo. That night, the group celebrates together in Tokyo. Peter is relieved to finally be done with the project, but wonders where Dr. Octopus and the diamond could be. MJ notices that something is on Peter's mind and asks him what's wrong. Peter responds that it's nothing and smiles at MJ. After a little while, Ned gets tired and decides to head back to the dorms. Not wanting the night to end just yet, Peter asks MJ if she wants to go get something to eat. MJ agrees and the two go to a restaurant to continue their celebration. During dinner, the restaurant begins shaking. Unsure what's going on, Peter goes to get a better look. MJ motions for Peter to go. Peter gets into his Spider-Man suit and heads to the top of the restaurant. Once on the roof, Peter sees Mount Fuji erupting. In an attempt to catch Peter Parker by surprise, Dr. Octopus has decided to start his attack a few days earlier. The roof of the base opens and Mechagodzilla disguised as Godzilla begins to lift up to the top of the crater. While everyone looks on thinking Mount Fuji is erupting, Dr. Octopus has secretly launched Mechagodzilla out of the volcano. The disguised Mechagodzilla makes it out of Mount Fuji and begins heading towards Tokyo. Spider-Man sees Godzilla heading out of Mount Fuji and then heads back to MJ. Confused, Peter changes back into his regular clothes and takes MJ back to the dorms. After walking MJ back, Peter heads back to his room to get some of the nano-drones for the expo. He then gets back into his suit to figure out what's going on at Mount Fuji. In disguise, Mechagodzilla reaches Tokyo and begins ripping apart buildings with his breath attack. Mechagodzilla lays waste to the area. Since he looks like Godzilla, citizens are confused as they flee for their lives. Godzilla continues to rampage throughout the city. Mechagodzilla rampages throughout Tokyo as the military begins to engage. Mechagodzilla easily defeats the oncoming attack and resumes his rampage, annihilating buildings left and right. After rampaging throughout Tokyo for a bit, Mothra eventually arrives and confronts Godzilla. Dr. Octopus orders Mechagodzilla to destroy Mothra. Mechagodzilla opens fires at Mothra and the monsters begin brawling. Mothra uses her powerful wings to push back what she thinks is Godzilla. As Spider-Man heads to Mount Fuji, he sees explosions going off in the distance. Confused, Spider-Man watches Godzilla fight with Mothra in the distance. Weird, he says as he proceeds to the volcano. Spider-Man makes it to Mount Fuji and can sense that Dr. Octopus is nearby. He begins to figure out how to infiltrate the volcano. Back in Tokyo, Godzilla roars at Mothra and fires his atomic breath at her. Mothra dodges his attack and moves in for another attack. Mothra lunges at Godzilla and knocks him down to the ground. Explosions go off as they fight each other and smash buildings. Spider-Man successfully infiltrates Mount Fuji and gets inside Dr. Octopus's lair. Once inside, Spider-Man is unsure where Dr. Octopus is. He jumps down from the ceiling and begins walking down a hallway, wondering where it leads to. Then out of nowhere, he hears, "Hello, Peter." Dr. Octopus reveals himself. Spider-Man jumps into action. The two begin fighting. Dr. Octopus's arms lunge at Spider-Man and pick him up. "You're coming with me, Spider-Man," Dr. Octopus says. Dr. Octopus brings Spider-Man into his command center. He ties Spider-Man up and turns on the main screen. The two watch as Godzilla fights with Mothra in the middle of Tokyo. Godzilla and Mothra go back and forth for a bit. During their fight, Mechagodzilla's disguise begins breaking apart, revealing Mechagodzilla's metal underneath. Dr. Octopus looks at Spider-Man and says, "Darn, the disguise is ruined. Time for the fun." Dr. Octopus presses a button that removes Mechagodzilla's disguise, fully revealing him. Mechagodzilla and Mothra fight for a bit, but Mechagodzilla unleashes his plasma grenade. Mothra collapses into a building. Mothra lays in the debris as Mechagodzilla continues his rampage. Mechagodzilla fires an eye attack, a breath attack, and missiles as he walks through the city streets. Buildings collapse from constant attacks. Out in Tokyo Bay, the water begins to bubble. Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus watch Mechagodzilla decimate Tokyo. Spider-Man manages to get one of his hands loose and finds one of the nano-drones he took from his dorm. He quickly reconfigures it. Instead of repairing wires, the drone will now destroy wires. Godzilla rises out of Tokyo Bay and marches into Tokyo and finds Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla sees Godzilla and Dr. Octopus orders him to attack. "Kill Godzilla, Mechagodzilla," he screams. Spider-Man releases the drone to attack Mechagodzilla's controls and gets back into position. Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus watch as Godzilla and Mechagodzilla battle with each other. After fighting back and forth for a while, Godzilla pummels Mechagodzilla into a building. Mechagodzilla gets up and fires his plasma grenade, injuring Godzilla. Dr. Octopus has Mechagodzilla fire all of his weapons at once at Godzilla. Godzilla tries to get up but can't due to Mechagodzilla's constant assault. Godzilla tries to fire his atomic breath, but it's no use. Spider-Man's nano-drone makes it to Mechagodzilla's controls. The drone goes inside the computer. Meanwhile, Mechagodzilla has Godzilla on the ropes and fires more attacks at Godzilla. Dr. Octopus laughs as Godzilla is going to be killed by Mechagodzilla. Thankfully, Spider-Man's drone makes it inside the computer and destroys the circuitry inside. Mechagodzilla begins fritzing out. Dr. Octopus attempts to figure out what's going on, but Spider-Man frees himself and begins fighting Dr. Octopus. The two battle each other as Godzilla pummels Mechagodzilla into the ground. Godzilla fires his atomic breath as Dr. Octopus's tentacles lunge for Spider-Man. Dr. Octopus catches Spider-Man and throws him into a wall. Spider-Man fires some webs, but they miss. Meanwhile, Godzilla picks Mechagodzilla up, throws him into the sky, and fires his atomic breath. Mechagodzilla explodes. Dr. Octopus watches Mechagodzilla explode on screen and screams. Spider-Man manages to get behind Dr. Octopus and shoots webs at his tentacles. Dr. Octopus attempts to escape, but Spider-Man uses more webs to tangle him up. Godzilla finds Mothra. She is doing better now, and the two monsters head out together. Spider-Man brings Dr. Octopus to the authorities for being the mastermind behind this entire plot. Dr. Octopus exclaims that he will get Spider-Man back. After a few days at the Science Expo, Peter, MJ, and Ned win the grant money thanks to their nano-drone project. Its ability to repair and deconstruct wires proved most impressive to the judges. Peter looks at MJ and tells her he owes her another date. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Godzilla Crossovers. Let me know in the comments. See you in the next one, G-fans.